In this video, I wanted to take a few moments to show you some of the tools and items that I've used during acid extraction of plant material, fossil plant material. The fossil plants occur in rocks that once collected, the rocks can be excavated in several different ways, one of which is to use different acids, whether it's hydrochloric or hydrofluoric or some other acids, to dissolve the surrounding rock material to hopefully release the chemically inert carbonaceous plant fossils that lie within the rock. The specimens that I have are in a volcanic tuff, and so that is silica, and the acid that'll dissolve that is hydrofluoric. It's bad stuff, so you should do that only in a fume hood with safety gloves on and all sorts of other safety precautions, because it's a nasty acid and can do you great harm, both from breathing it and from touching it or getting it on your body anywhere. Acids and bases in very strong concentration are not good, period. And so that's the safety rider on this one. This is my setup at home. And to do an acid dissolution, you would normally take the rock that you have collected in the field and put it into, what I've got here is a piece of Tupperware or a rectangular plastic container. And right now I've just laid a square or rectangular piece of screening on this. It's a plastic screen, and I use plastic because it does not react in the acid. And so the screening, as well as the plant materials, remain inert, unaffected by the acid. But the screen, as a base, what I do is I'll take a rock material and I'll put it into, or on a screen, into the plastic container, and then I'll fill the plastic container all in a fume hood, of course, with the acid to begin dissolving the rock. And the rock, once dissolved, releases all of its plant parts that you can see beneath that screen. And the plant parts, because they're in the rock, hopefully will be released and will be captured or supported by the screen that's sitting in the plastic container. Excuse me. Once the dissolution takes place, what I've done is transferred this to another plastic container, and you can see all the plant material in this container. And what I had here was a piece of rock that had several fractures, and so I've got one part of the rock here, another small part of the rock here, another small part of the rock here, another small part of the rock over here. So these four areas contained the plants that were released from the acid dissolution. And what I've got so the plant parts here are now in water, and I also put some screen in here because ultimately, when I separate the plant parts, I want to bring them over to this piece of screen, lay them on the screen that's underwater, and that keeping it underwater helps to reduce damage to the plant part as I'm moving it. And then ultimately I can reach in and grab this and pull it out of the bath, take it over, lay it on a paper towel, and let it dry. I can also take a smaller piece of screen and come back and put the small screen in, and with tweezers or needles put the small parts onto this piece of screen, and then lift it up out of the water, bring it over, put it on here, let it dry. And once dried, I showed you in another video some of the parts that I have. I usually take it off the screen because if I try to look at it with the parts on the screen, some of the parts are so small they stick through the screen, and as I drag the screen around, those small features get broken. So what I usually do then is I put it onto a piece of plastic. In this case, it's just a shelf liner, but it's solid, and it gives me a chance then to continue to support the plant, as well as protect the plant from, now I can move this piece of plastic liner all around, and the plant itself is, or the fossil is not going to get damaged. So that is basically the setup for dissolution. And once it is dissolved, this is also my setup for viewing. I have a dissecting laboratory microscope that allows me to look at the plants. I've got a light source with some gooseneck lights that help to illuminate, and I can bring this down close to the area that I want to examine under the microscope and brightly illuminate so that I can see. It's also how I've been taking my videos. I use these lights to illuminate, and then I made a homemade stand that will hold my iPhone. And so what I do then is, when I do a video of what I'm looking at through the microscope, I can put my iPhone right onto the eyepiece and move it around. It's gone black, but hopefully there's the edge. Put a little bit of light on that just to show you, and then we'll end this video. There we go. But I set this up so that I can now be hands-free and photograph and video things that I'm doing inside the water bath. That's all for now.